What's going on, everyone? It's another episode of LTMB Live. This is Let the Madness Begin. As always, my name is Will Gaillard.
And I'm Mike White.
I hope everybody had a very good weekend. This is February 5th now. We are into the month of February. Lots to talk about. This on this day. It's going to be a shortened show for tonight because, of course, the State of the Union address is coming up at around 9 p.m. and you know, we don't want to miss all the goodies that are going to come out from that speech. Got to be ready. Got to jot down all the pertinent information.
Popcorn and soda. That's basically what you need. Popcorn and soda is what you need.
Yeah, it's going to be a doozy. It's going to be something. But yeah, we're broadcasting on Twitch, on Periscope Live, and on YouTube. We thank everybody that's here with us, join us for this program. Again, yeah, we have a lot to talk about. Let's start with Governor Ralph Northam.
Of course we have to start with that.
Got to start with Governor Ralph Northam. You know how it is when we end the program on Thursday night. Something always happens on Friday. And Thursday night, actually, we talked about Governor Ralph Northam, and that was about the
how his words were twisted.
Yeah, about the abortion.
Yeah, so he was taken
bill.
out of context about his comments involving abortion.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we got another subject about Governor Ralph Northam now. So Virginia Governor Ralph Northam is facing mountain pressure to resign from office, and this is stemming from an old yearbook picture. Or actually his medical school yearbook page from 1984. So if you have not seen it yet, this is what appeared on his personal page at his medical school. So you see his name, but clearly you see towards the right-hand side of that picture, an image depicting somebody in blackface and then another in a KKK wardrobe, full with the the headgear, everything. So, clearly this is a troubling image. And soon after this image was revealed, soon after, the media, reported about this, Governor Northam made an apology. And he did admit to being one of the figures in that picture. He admitted to being one of them. Now, it wasn't clear which one he was admitting to be, but he did say that, yeah, he was in the picture and he apologizes. No call, no intention to resign from office or anything like that. But like I said, he did apologize. Now that language quickly changed up. He quickly kind of backtracked from that initial apology. And then he had a press conference on Saturday, I believe this was, right?
Yeah, with his wife. His wife was up on the stage with him.
Right. Wife was up on stage with him. And he changed his tune. He was now proclaiming that he was not in the picture, that it was a mistake, that the school actually made a mistake. And there were other pictures depicting people, you know, that were wearing blackface all throughout that medical school yearbook. And that by mistake, that picture was placed on his personal page. And that it wasn't him. He would remember something like that.
So he apologized for it.
Yes.
I guess as a reflex action, but upon further examination, that wasn't him.
That's what he said. He issued a very firm denial. He said, quote, "I am not the person in that photo." Very firm. Very firm. Now, during this press conference, okay? Now, if you saw the press conference, this is what I say. If you are coming to a press conference and you have to apologize for something, we know that it's standard operating procedure to come with a prepared speech.
Right.
Everybody does this, you know, it's just par for the course now. It's just standard operating procedure. I don't like the practice because it makes it seem as though your words are not genuine, but maybe there are some things that you don't want to just be sitting there fumbling around in your head about. You want them jotted down. Fine. Like I said, it's accepted practice now. When you're coming to a press conference, when you have the mic, and you're not coming to apologize, you're just coming to convey that this is not me. I'm going to give you my recollection of events and what transpired, what took place, and how this could not be me. Why would you need to come with a prepared speech? And that's what Northam did. He came with a prepared speech.
But he did go to the school, did he not?
He went to the school.
So we have actually a larger problem. Even if the conversation is not centered on Northam, isn't there still a problem that exists? This was when he was in law school.
Yeah. And
this is the kind of stuff that passes off as material that belongs in a yearbook. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, this was in 1984?
1984.
1984. So, like, even if we, like, don't focus on Northam in this case, there's a broader issue here, that there was an obvious culture at that school that embraced and validated that behavior. Mm-hmm. Because this was in a school yearbook, which is created for the consumption of the student body and their families. Yeah. Am I correct?
Right.
So I'm just trying to figure out like what kind of atmosphere, what kind of culture that particular school was cultivating that would be a acceptable yearbook entry, regardless of whether it's Northam or not. Right. Like the editors and the people involved in the creation of that yearbook, I'm like,
and see, his was not, like, again, according to his words, his was not the only page that featured some blackface, some very inappropriate racist type of imagery.
So regardless of, like, if in a reality where this isn't Northam, there still needs to be a conversation, especially seeing that this was in 1984, and it was a common practice and an accepted practice. Yeah. And acceptable enough to, I guess, acceptable enough behavior to be featured in a school yearbook. To
be so, like, cavalier about it, to actually be able to showcase that kind of racist attitude. It's like you said, that is a larger discussion that we should be having. We wanted to show a little bit of video of that press conference that Governor Ralph Northam conducted on Saturday, because in this press conference he actually made some news. He actually I guess revealed some information that was not known about him. So again, he did deny that he ever appeared in blackface, you know, in that picture, or if, you know, the person that was actually in the KKK costume. Those weren't him. But he made another admission to where he said he actually did do it the same year. So again, this is a little bit of video, which is crazy though. But just look at this video.
That same year, I did participate in a dance contest in San Antonio. in which I darkened my face as part of a Michael Jackson costume. It is because my memory of that episode is so vivid that I truly do not believe I am in the picture in my yearbook. You remember these things. I dressed up in a what's his name? Michael Jackson, excuse me. That's why I had Pam with me. I had the shoes, I had a glove, and I used just a little bit of shoe polish to put under my, or on my teeth.
Now, what's not included is that, in that little clip, was the reason he used a little bit. The reason why he claimed he used a little bit. He claimed that he used a little bit because putting too much on, it would be hard to get it off. Shoe polish is very hard to get it off. I'm just thinking, wait a second. If that was your only time using blackface, then
How would you know that?
How would you know that? So it was almost like one of those deals where you don't want to cop to the big crime. You don't want to cop to the big crime, so you admit some sort of smaller crime as if that's going to be more acceptable. I've seen people dress up as Michael Jackson before.
Yeah.
People who do not have a high concentration of melanin in their skin. I've seen people.
You know, actually, they don't need to. They don't need to. If you want to keep it real,
they
don't need to.
See, that's what makes it weird. Like you like 1970s Michael Jackson. Like, cause you gotta be specific.
Exactly.
So Michael Jackson himself gives you options. Michael Jackson gives you options. So you're right. You do not have to use blackface because, you know, mid 80s, early 90s, into the 2000s.
He did it for you.
He did, yeah.
He did it for you.
And most people can do Michael Jackson without blackface because he has a distinct look.
Right.
You can just wear a glove and a hat and a jacket and some high water pants with some white socks, and he'd be like, Michael Jackson.
Put on some hair or something.
Put on some
like
hair.
That. Yeah.
But so he's copping to a lesser charge.
Yo, but the lesser charge too, this lesser offense has no pictures. So we can't see what it looks like. You're just giving us a story about it, right? But I like, my favorite part is that he forgets Michael Jackson's name. So when you saw at the beginning, when he was reading his prepared speech, he read the words Michael Jackson. No problem there. But when he's taking questions from the media, from reporters, and has to actually answer, he's talking about Michael Jackson. He's like, what story did we come up again?
See?
Michael Jackson, that's right. See, that's why I have my wife Pam here to get my story straight for me.
That's another reason why I think this is made up. Remember, he even said, like, oh, that's something I could remember. So if that's something you remember from such a long time ago, how do you forget the name of Michael Jackson? A person's name who stayed throughout media circulation since then. You don't forget that person's name. That's why it just looks to me like it's a bullshit story.
But soon after he forgot his name, and then like his wife reminded him, he went into the story about having the glove and how he dressed like Michael Jackson. These are all in like very important factors of like looking like Michael Jackson. So if you know that information, the name Michael Jackson would like automatically come to you. But it didn't. Why? No, I call bullshit, man.
But wasn't he about to actually do the moonwalk on stage? His wife had to pull his collar, like, don't do that. He was about to do the moonwalk. I'm saying this dude is not all the way there. He's not all the way there to me. I mean, it's like, number one, like when you are truly taking ownership of your actions, you don't minimize them.
No.
And his way of introducing this whole Michael Jackson outfit into the story is his way of minimizing the actions he was accused of being a part of. You see what I'm saying? Even if he wasn't, which he denies it, but still, you don't even minimize the accusation. You see what I'm saying?
He did.
You know what I'm saying? Like don't bring up the fact that you did do it once, but you only used a little bit of shoe polish. So I'm like, oh,
so we should just be a little bit upset.
Yes, yeah, a little bit. Like, thank you for discretion. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for using discretion, you know, before you went on your little blackface adventure. I really, you know what I'm saying? Like, thank you, dude. Like, get out of here.
So, again, it's not him now, all right? It wasn't me. It's not him. So, in that press conference, he did field a few questions, asking him if he has given any thought to resigning his position. And he has stated that no, he's not ready to do that now. He's gonna. He said something about, I guess, hearing from the people of Virginia and seeing if he can, I guess, still effectively govern. So again, he's resisting that call right now. But the calls are coming far and wide. They're coming from the Democratic Party, Republican Party.
The lieutenant governor.
Well, the lieutenant governor didn't, specifically say that he should resign. He said that, he was disappointed in those, and I guess in the imagery, and he had talked to him and this and that. He didn't specifically say that he should resign. But a lot of people are saying that he should, and that, that would make the lieutenant governor's name is Justin Fairfax. That would make him the new governor. So this is not over, of course. At this point, I wonder what the over-under is of how much time he still has left in office, because I don't think this is going anywhere. I don't think that he can effectively be the governor of Virginia right now. And we're talking about people that are within Virginia too, calling for his resignation. Mm-hmm. So it's not just from outside people. It seems like the people of Virginia don't want him in office anymore. So it's going to be interesting.
So like when you're talking about
how
whether he can effectively govern, it's not necessarily about like looking at it from his individual ability.
Yeah.
But the ability for him to, I guess, have a constituency that will listen to him.
Yeah. Look, he says that the imagery is not his. He was not in that picture, right? If he wasn't in that picture, I guess it would be unfortunate that this is coming out right now. He said he had never seen the yearbook. He didn't buy a copy of the yearbook. He never saw it until this. It seems far-fetched, but maybe it's possible. I don't know. The only thing really that matters right now is, does he have the support going forward of the people of Virginia? Doesn't seem like that's the case. So, again, I wonder what the over-under is. I don't think he's going to be in office for much longer. We don't know, when ultimately he's going to, heed those calls and, step down, but I think that's what's coming. Now, one of the people that had critical remarks about Ralph Northam was President Trump. President Trump had some very critical remarks. So on Twitter, he said, Democrat Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia just stated, I believe that I am not either of the people in that photo. This was 24 hours after apologizing for appearing in the picture and after making the most horrible statement on super late term abortion. Unforgivable. We're talking about a president that has on countless times evidenced his bigotry and racism. And we're talking about a president that is criticizing something that's happening in the state of Virginia. You remember what happened in the state of Virginia?
Oh, yeah.
You remember? That was 2017.
That was 2017.
Charlottesville? And where he said that there were fine people on both sides, good people on both sides.
I mean, even beyond, looking at that situation in Charlottesville, we can point to multiple occasions where Donald Trump has illustrated how much of a bigot he is. Mm-hmm. I guess an issue that has kind of has close proximity to this time right now is the immigration issue.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
When it refers to Mexicans as rapists, murderers, and thieves.
Right.
He also hasn't backtracked on his perspective on the Central Park Five. He also has shared and retweeted posts from white supremacist websites and Twitter accounts. So, I just think he's the wrong person to try to point the finger.
To be in the middle. That's a kind of restrained comment. Say he's not the right person.
I know, right? Yeah, he's definitely the wrong person to try to
He should stay away from this.
Yeah, point the finger at somebody else, especially seeing as he had nothing to say about Steve King.
Hell yeah.
Nothing to say about Steve King.
I'm sure he's still fully in support of Steve King.
Had nothing to say about the dude in Florida during the campaign.
With the multiple incidents where Ron DeSantis his campaign or him was linked to white supremacy, racism, whatever. He didn't have anything to say to him.
Your boy,
he fully backed
the governor in Georgia too. He's seen taking pictures with avowed white supremacists. So it's like it happens all over the place, but it seems to, I guess, only become a focus for conservatives or Republicans if like somebody of the opposition party does it. So I don't think it's going to really create some sort of like self-reflection. That's my issue with this.
They're just using it as an opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think it's good if, again, we're in the reality that this is legit. We still don't know. There could be more to come out about it because it is, the timing of it is odd, and I guess who broke it is odd. But if we're living in the reality that it is him, I think it's an important lesson, especially for Democrats, because out of all the Democrats that did support Northam, they're all like corporate Democrats.
Oh yeah, man, he was too.
Yeah, he was too, and I think that's probably like what means more in this issue because I don't think Bernie Sanders supported him.
No.
It happened 25 years ago. I don't think any of those corporate Democrats knew anything about this. Nobody knew anything about it. So like, if you're just talking about like this as like some sort of moral issue, yeah, but a political issue, not so much. I mean, it doesn't really mean much to me that Bernie Sanders didn't support him. That was a function of him being a corporate Democrat.
Right.
And he got support from other corporate Democrats. I think the lesson here is that, like, blue no matter who, it's not smart.
Nah, it isn't.
It's not smart because it causes them to overlook certain things. Like, again, that's living in the reality that it was him.
So Trump, he posted something else on Twitter that I actually agree with, though. He said, Ed Gillespie, who ran for governor of the great state of Virginia against Ralph Northam, must now be thinking malpractice and dereliction of duty with regard to his opposition research staff. If they find that terrible picture before the election, he wins by 20 points. I don't know that he wins by 20 points, but it's possible. That was a horrible job by his opposition team, no doubt. If they do find that picture before the election, he wins. Because it wasn't that close. I mean, well, it wasn't so close or so. He didn't win in the landslide. I'll put it like that. He didn't win in a landslide. So, yes, Gillespie could have definitely took that win.
That is kind of weird to me. That is kind of weird to me that, like, the lengths that they usually go to uncover dirt, some sort of impropriety, like, as far back as they can, they didn't find that?
And it would have been so easy, too. I mean, this is just, we're talking about a yearbook. We're not talking about, like,
we're not talking
notes from 20 years ago or something like that, personal messages.
Or like, finding a calendar.
No.
Because this is not a personal calendar.
No.
And if we believe him and say he didn't even have the yearbook, regardless of that, that's something that's, like, easy to come by. And it wasn't, like, 1950. It wasn't 1960. No. It was 1984.
Yep.
He's not that old, so like, and that's the first thing. That's usually the first thing that they do, is
you look at their past.
Look at their past. They knew like what schools he went to, so that's the first place you go. So that's why this whole thing is weird to me. I do want to see how this jump plays out, but I don't know.
All right, so let's move on. All right, there is another contender, another Democratic contender for president in 2020, Cory Booker.
Big Pharma Booker. Big Pharma Booker.
Democratic Senator Cory Booker finally announced his intention to run for president in 2020. This is something that was expected, just didn't know when it was going to happen, but looked like he was saying all the right things and that he was eventually going to throw his hat in the ring. So he did confirm his decision on Twitter. So we have a little bit of the video that he put out there. I guess his first little ad spot that he had for his supporters. So let's show you that.
In America, we have a common pain, but what we're lacking is a sense of common purpose.
What's up? Amen.
I grew up knowing that the only way we can make change is when people come together. The history of our nation is defined by collective action, by interwoven destinies of slaves and abolitionists, of those born here and those who chose America as home, those who took up arms to defend our country, and those who linked arms to challenge and change it. I believe that we can build a country where no one is forgotten, no one is left behind, where parents can put food on the table, where there are good-paying jobs with good benefits in every neighborhood. where our criminal justice system keeps us safe instead of shuffling more children into cages and coffins, where we see the faces of our leaders on television and feel pride, not shame. It is not a matter of can we. It's a matter of do we have the collective will, the American will. I believe we do. Together, we will channel our common pain back into our common purpose. Together, America, we will rise. I'm Cory Booker, and I'm running for President of the United States of America.
Don't you love the kind of the drum build up?
Oh yeah, man.
The drum climax at the end?
Yeah. Whose music did you like better? His or
Kamala's?
Kamala's
Was more hype. His was more like trying to be like inspiring.
Yeah,
I don't know how inspired you can be.
His was more like an uplifting type of message, I guess.
But still, I'm sensing a very robotic cadence. A robotic cadence that likely he perfected in the studio for hours. So
that's just the way he speaks, man. That's just the way he speaks. That's just the way he comes off, man. Doesn't mean that he's fake.
I mean, I truly think he believes all that. Now, whether that actually kind of manifests in his politics is different. Mm-hmm. I think he truly believes all of that, but it's not about what he believes. I care less about what he believes as far as like in his kind of ideal perspective.
Yeah.
It just matters like who he is as a politician. And we can go up and down the list about why we don't like Cory Booker, but
this is a guy that has deep ties to Wall Street. At one point, he was the #1 person in Congress in regards to contributions from Wall Street. Now that has since ended because I believe it was last year, if I'm not mistaken, last year he asserted that he was not going to be receiving any corporate money anymore, at least money going into corporate PACs.
He also said that about a big pharma as well.
Yes.
But that was right before, that was right before something eventful. That was right before something very eventful. So I think that was very timely.
You talking about Bernie Sanders bill?
Yeah, Bernie Sanders bill.
Yeah. It was the Bernie Sanders and Amy Klobuchar's bill.
He wanted to be kind of a part of that spectacle, so he kind of said he was separating himself from that receiving donations or any kind of contribution from Big Pharma.
So there's no conflict. So the bill that we're talking about, it would have, it wouldn't have done it like right there. It would have been more like a, I guess like symbolic, but it was meant to, I guess, guide the United States in the direction to where we can actually buy pharmaceutical drugs from Canada. We can get those drugs from Canada. And Senator Booker voted no on that. The legislation failed. Again, it was mostly symbolic. It wouldn't have had an immediate effect or anything like that. But I think it would have put us on that path. In a statement after that, he said, any plan, quote, any plan to allow the importation of prescription medications should also include consumer protections that ensure foreign drugs meet American safety standards. I opposed an amendment put forward last night that didn't meet this test. And his spokesperson said that he voted the way he did because of safety concerns.
Yeah, we talked about that on the show.
We did. And one of the reasons why this sounds absolutely ridiculous is because many of these pharmaceutical drugs they're produced in the United States of America. And I don't, I can read something that actually it was former Minnesota Governor Tim Pawlenty. He said, my first response to that is show me the dead Canadians. Where are the dead Canadians? In response to like any kind of safety concerns or anything like that. We don't look, Canada is our neighbor, okay? It's not like we wouldn't hear about it. Okay? Like if there was something going on where it was killing people, these drugs, like, oh man, these drugs are they're not safe, man. I don't know why we as a country are allowing these drugs to come in from the United States and you're just unregulated and all that. Man, we got to do better.
Because you're suggesting that he's suggesting that the drugs that come from Canada are unregulated, even if they were not produced by companies in the United States already. He would be suggesting that. Even if they were just coming straight from Canadian companies, he would be suggesting that Canada is putting themselves at risk.
Right. That's what he's suggesting. And there's nothing to back that claim up at all.
So are you saying that he just used that as an excuse?
It looks like it.
That's what it looks like.
It looks like it. Now, on the campaign trail, he's going to have to answer those questions because that is something that a lot of people hold negative feelings about as regards to him. So I'm sure he's going to have to answer that question many times.
See, like, here's my thing. Just, like, about him running for president in general. Like, you know, these people, I guess they seek the advice of exploratory committees, right? To see if they're actually a viable candidate. I'm trying to figure out, like, what polling he's kind of tuned to that tells him that he's a viable candidate. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, you don't just run for president, even if you're like inspired by some, like, I guess your ideas and your politics. You don't just run for president.
But see, it's not polling though.
Yeah,
it's not polling. You remember? Well, in regards to him, Kirsten Gillibrand and Kamala Harris. What did they do before they announced their intentions to run?
That's right. They went to Wall Street.
They went to Wall Street executives to see if their campaign would be viable or not, like if it would mean anything, I guess. And to me, that all that means is, are you gonna pay? I mean, are you gonna actually fund my campaign? Are you gonna support my candidacy?
I mean, even with that being true, I mean, they're not dumb. They understand you still have to have people's votes. So regardless of, you know, how much Wall Street backing they have, if they're not polling well, like, what's the point in running? Presidential campaigns are really expensive. So to me, I'm not so sure he's doing this to actually win. I'm not so sure this is a legitimate run for president. Maybe this is a branding thing. Maybe this is just name recognition thing.
But to what end, though? I think he actually is running.
You
for
think
president.
so? Like,
because he's already a United States senator. He's been a senator for a while.
But again, that's how you can sell it, though. I'm a United States senator. I've been a senator for this long. I was a mayor. I did this kind of work. So, like, he thinks that qualifies him. But again, like where does he see himself as far as positioned with the other Democrats that have declared to run for president? You see what I'm saying? Like, you definitely...
No, he sees himself number one. When Bernie Sanders unveiled that Medicare for All legislation, and we saw Cory Booker being the most emphatic, the most enthusiastic, the shouting.
The most bug-eyed.
Exactly. When we saw that, no, man, that's somebody that is trying to get in that limelight, trying to make his case.
Okay, then. That's still delusional in my mind. That still seems very delusional. I do think it's delusional for him to run. I haven't seen any good reactions, no matter where. I'm telling you, no matter where I go. Look, if you look in the comment section under the videos, if you go to any website that has this story, like, the reactions are not good.
Nobody's riding for Booker.
Nobody's feeling this dude. Nobody's feeling the swaggerless version of Obama. You see what I'm saying? Nobody's feeling that. And I went to his campaign website, Cory 2020. I went to his website, and now I don't know if it's like this on like a desktop computer. I don't think it was when I looked it up. But if you just go to Cory Booker 2020, his website, the first thing you see, this is not enlarged at all. This is the first thing you see. That's what you see. Join the team, like in big font. Also, something similar about this page. It reminds me of Kamala Harris's page in regard to something that's missing, concerning something that I don't see, or tabs that are not there or hidden somewhere.
Well, he just announced, man.
I don't see.
Give him a couple days.
I see it like there's a lot of about Cory. There's an option to look at the page in Spanish.
So you're looking for a platform.
There's donate buttons, jobs, but I think that's
Jobs for his
That's
campaign.
to join the team jobs.
Right. But no platform.
No platform at all. Not even a platform outline. I know he just announced, like you said, but if you know you're going to announce, then you should at least have something on the page. So,
well, hey, we'll be looking for it.
I won't.
You know, I will, because I want to see what it contains. Look, Cory Booker does not have. It's like a lot of these people. You know, a lot of people that we don't support. Cory Booker does not have an awful voting record. He doesn't have an awful one. He was with. I remember earlier in 2018 when Senators Bernie Sanders, Mike Lee, and Chris Murphy, they came together bipartisan, and they tried to get a resolution passed so that the Senate could have a conversation about U.S. involvement in Yemen, in the Yemen war, and that was that was shut down. But Cory Booker actually voted for it, right? So he's been an ally, I guess, in that fight. He did introduce legislation to legalize marijuana. It, like I said, it's not all bad. He did vote, and I guess in the negative side, he voted for the National Defense Authorization Act. You know, giving Donald Trump $717 billion for the military. He was an early and very enthusiastic supporter of Hillary Clinton in 2016. Very enthusiastic. Often I saw him right by her side on the stage. So, you know how I feel about that. People that were enthusiastic and early on the way during the primaries in support of Hillary Clinton.
Okay, all right. I got a question for you because it's a big but here. If by some long shot, if somehow he comes out of this Democratic primary as a winner, which I don't think is going to happen. No, I actually think Bernie Sanders has a harder time in the Democratic primary than he would in the general. But I guess stretching your imagination, if he actually won the Democratic primary, would you enthusiastically cast your vote for Cory Booker?
Enthusiastically?
Yeah, in the presidential election.
No, that would not be enthusiastic.
Would you be reluctant?
If I had a choice between him and Trump, there's no choice.
Okay.
There's no choice. And that's just me. There's no choice. But Cory Booker, he's not a guy you can trust. I think a lot of these contenders are going to be out of the run-in come 2020. Even before the debate.
No, I think so too. I don't think this is going to be like a demolition derby in the debates. I don't think it's going to be one of those things. No. Wait a second. He used the image of Frederick Douglass in that ad. That didn't get you? That didn't get you?
He used a lot of imagery. No, that didn't really.
The fact that his parents faced racism when they moved, that didn't get you? You know he did that first in the ad, right? You know who that was for. You know it was for us. That was for us.
Yeah, man. So now again, we have a real race here because who's going to get that black vote? Kamala? Cory? We got some strong contenders, man. We got some really strong contenders.
What? Did you say strong?
Strong contenders. Strong contenders, man. People that we can really latch on to and be like, man, you got us. I know you got us. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I'm not even going to push back on that.
Nah,
because that's.
Oh yeah, he was on the Breakfast Club earlier. He was on the Breakfast Club earlier this morning on Tuesday morning.
I saw that too, and I plan on watching it, but I don't want to watch it because I understand how the Breakfast Club tends to shape these interviews.
Oh yeah,
and I think they do a disservice to the community that watches them. And I noticed that a lot, but especially when the topic is politics. Well, maybe not. If it's politics in general and they're there on a daily basis amongst themselves talking about it, they're really good. But as soon as they bring like a politician on to talk about things, it just seems as if it's not serious enough.
They allow them to pander.
They allow them to pay, and that's what they should not do. Like They have millions and millions of followers and views, like every week, probably every day. So, and we noticed that that inability to, I guess, prevent politicians from pandering when they interviewed Hillary Clinton. That's where the whole hot sauce bullshit. They didn't push back on that.
Hot sauce in my bag,
Hot
swag?
sauce in my bag.
What?
So yeah,
That's where they all originated
I
from.
haven't watched it yet, and I'm planning on watching it, but I just don't want to be disappointed.
Well, he talked about that he got a boo. He got a boo. Now, he didn't come out with that. That was from Charlamagne the Guy. But still, yeah, he has a boo. He has a girlfriend, unnamed. We don't know who she is. Even though there are some reports that it could be Rosario Dawson, I think.
I heard that, and that pissed me off.
Yeah.
I heard that. Somebody told me that, I can't remember, a friend of mine involved in the Progressive Network in South Carolina. He told me that. And, yeah, that'd be disappointing to me, considering Rosario Dawson, well, considering who she endorsed in 2006.
True. But anyway, we'll be hearing more from Cory Booker in the coming weeks and months.
How you gonna think the enemy, dog?
We don't know that it's her. We don't know that it's her. Right? You speculating right now. Right? We don't know.
I'm just appealing to my emotional need for her not to be him right now. I'm just saying.
It would be confusing.
Yeah. Like I'm speaking as if it's true, but I'm hoping it's not true.
Yeah.
Hoping it's not true.
All right, so let's move on to another Democratic political figure. In 2016, I criticized many people who are referred to as fake progressives, okay? Now, there were several people that you could include under this label. Senator Elizabeth Warren, you could say, fit under that label because she stayed on the sidelines, refused to endorse Bernie Sanders during the Democratic primaries. You could talk about Howard Dean, who at one time looked like one of the most progressive political figures in the Democratic Party, but in 2016, obviously you saw that he sold out and his enthusiastic support of Hillary Clinton. And not just that, how he really criticized the progressive in the race, Bernie Sanders, and really went at him very harshly, right?
Oh, and the fact that he became a very loyal lobbyist.
Oh, hell yeah. And suggested that the Democratic Party should take money from everywhere, doesn't matter where it's coming from.
Which is weird because we talked about that on the show and showed that interview. Mm-hmm. And, like, he was asked that question, like, within this kind of topic of money in politics and how people have become a little disinterested and they think politicians that take money from corporations are not to be trusted. So within that whole framework, he was asked a question and he still answered it. Democrats should take money from anybody who gives it to them.
Right. So there's a lot of people that can fit under that label, fake-ass progressives. There was one person that really rubbed me the wrong way and got on my last nerves, though. That would be Senator Sherrod Brown.
He used to be your boy, though, man.
Democrat from Ohio.
He used to be your boy, though. I remember when that was your boy. I remember that. I remember that time where you was like, yo, I like the way he steps out and kind of contradicts some of the narrative that gets put out there by some corporate Democrats. Like, you used to point that out, and I'm like, yo, man. This dude is for real. And I was like, I kind of was like, yo, I looked into him. I was like, you know what? He does tend to he tends to walk a little differently.
Right.
That's what I thought.
He was, you know, I guess appropriately at the time described as a progressive. Yeah. But in 2016, he supported Hillary Clinton early, again, during the primaries, stating that she would be the best candidate for the job.
That was when you first gave him the side eye.
Yes, that was the first side eye that I had thrown. that was the very first side eye. But he has been catching multiple side eyes since 2015, 2016.
I think it has I don't know, like, I think it's been promoted. The side eye is gone now. It's like, I think you went from straight side eye to your lip being turned up. I think you already passed the side eye.
It just keeps moving like another level. But anyway, so in talking about Senator Sherrod Brown, recently he was at a roundtable discussion with the Clear Lake Chamber of Commerce in Iowa. And this was on Friday. And he talked about this Medicare for All policy, or this or this initiative that a lot of Democratic contenders for 2020 seem to be supporting. Not just them, but there are many members of the Democratic Party now that have, signed on to that type of legislation. Medicare for all. That's the way we need to go with healthcare in this country. Senator Sherrod Brown does not agree. So again, in this roundtable discussion, he says, quote, "I know most of the Democratic primary candidates are all talking about Medicare for all. I think instead we should do Medicare at 55. Now,
that wasn't Hillary Clinton.
I was just gonna ask you, who does that sound like?
Yeah, I was like, that sounds just like Hillary Clinton. So he's on the same page with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, I mean, he was on the same page with her, as her in 2016.
Yeah, but specifically on policy.
Yeah,
that was more or less in regards to like just
supporting
but
her
now
candidacy.
Specifically, like he lines up with her on this specific policy.
Hillary Clinton is the one that said that. What her famous like when she was saying we can't have some theoretical debate on blah 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 blah.
Yeah, she said it'd be a contentious battle. We can't get into contentious battle. She called it she called all those
that would never happen.
Progressive platform items like ponies and what else she said, ponies and something else, whatever.
So he seems to be with her now. She was pushing this in 2016, and now it seems like he's pushing it. So. He goes on further. He says, if someone has lost her job at 58 or his plant closes at 62, he should be able to buy into Medicare early. It will cost a little bit more, but to me, that's about helping people now. It's something we might be able to get through Congress. He goes on to say, I'm not going to come and make a lot of promises like President Trump did. I'm going to talk about what's practical and what we can make happen. And if that makes me different from the other candidates, so be it.
Wait a second. So only people who lose their jobs deserve health care? Like only people who are going through dire situations deserve health care. But what if the dire situation is having a lack of access to that same health care? So he's making it like the only people that deserve a break or the only person or people that deserve the benefit of Medicare or people in these specific situations. You lost your job or you can't do this. But I just don't, to me, that's not a practical position to have if he's going to make this about practicalities. Because to me, the insurance industry having, this kind of stranglehold on America, to me, that's not practical. Increasing insurance premiums, insurance companies denying coverage for pre-existing conditions. That doesn't seem practical to me. Can I ask you a question about Israel?
Yeah.
What's their health care?
Well, I believe they have universal health care. I believe they have health care
isn't
for
that
our citizens.
That's our bestie, right?
Yeah, it's a strong ally.
That's our best. Yeah, that's one of our besties. So, I guess them implementing that is not practical. Well, what about
Canada?
Yeah, what about Canada? So is he saying that they're not behaving practically as a government? Or what about those countries, those industrialized nations that have implemented, universal health care? Is he saying that they have implemented policies that aren't practical? And if they have, then shouldn't we be seeing the results of that impractical government policy?
Well, he goes at it, he talks about it being practical in a different way than I guess what you're suggesting. So he doesn't disagree with the policy initiative. He doesn't disagree with, this is just, this is about his words, right? He doesn't disagree with it in theory. He doesn't disagree with the initiative of, actually doing Medicare for all. He hasn't said that, as an ideology, he's not against it. Or that he is against it. He hasn't said that. What he is saying is that it's not practical that it can actually pass this Congress or our Congress, right? So since it can't pass, he's not going to sign on to it. He's not going to promise and under deliver like he said President Trump will. But for me, that's like, okay, hold on. It can't pass. Like, basically what he's saying is, you know what? Don't shoot your shot. Aim very low. When it comes to actually protecting people, when it comes to actually ensuring every single citizen within the country it's just too much to like realistically get to that goal. Let's just aim a little bit lower. Let's just, you know, aim at incrementalism, and that makes sense. And you know, I guess
I'm glad you used that
suggesting,
word.
or I mean, you know, realizing who he supported in 2016.
I'm glad you used that word because that's exactly what it sounds like. And I guess he's hoping that people do not understand how, I guess the introduction or presentation of bills work. He's acting as if like a bill comes in as is and people just vote on everything as is and it just gets done, as if things cannot be amended, appropriated, or changed, or taken out, whatever. Like he's acting like things can't be negotiated.
What happened to the ACA? What happened to the public option?
That was his part.
Yeah.
That was Sherrod Brown's part. Yeah. He put that in the ACA and it got taken out. So he understands that things can change once a bill is introduced.
So why don't you aim at protecting all people? Actually ensuring that every single person does get health care and can use it. Not just like that, you know, those buzzwords like access to health care. No. Let's make it so that every single person that is a citizen in this country can actually use their health care, and they won't go into debt because of it. Let's do that, right? Like it's strange to me that there have been a lot of people, political figures, you know, that supported Hillary Clinton in 2016, and they have made the change, and not just right now. Like soon after 2016, the presidential election, they made the change, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, you know, Medicare for all. You know, most people in the country, they do support it, and that's just not like polls that are today. That's going back to 2016. We talked about that. Most people in the country support the idea of Medicare for all. So what would he be risking in signing on to something like that? Because again, he doesn't say that he disagrees with it personally. He's just saying that it's not practical. What would be the fallout from you saying, you know what, this is definitely the direction we need to go, and I'm all for it? What's going to be the fallout? Again, people that supported Hillary Clinton have made that change. But for Sherrod Brown, the supposed progressive, nah, I can't do that. No, can't do that. I'll be a little bit different. I'm okay with that. Okay.
Well, I think he's hoping that he can, like, seem practical while, I guess, getting approval from the progressive base. I think that's what he's trying to accomplish here.
Well, that ain't gonna happen.
I was about to say that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna float in 2019.
Nah.
That's definitely not gonna float now, because I think people see through that. They want to like hear more succinct, like declarations of progressive policies.
Yeah.
They want to like hear specifics. They want to hear people championing progressive policies. They don't want people who are talking about being practical or talk about compromise or talk about working across the other side. They want to hear people be like, I guess, like more strong-willed, more strong-voiced about these things. And I don't think
and
you
not
can
move right.
And not move right. So and you can't get away with that now. I think it was easier back then, and I say back then like it was ages ago, but
it wasn't that long.
It
ago.
wasn't that long ago where that was kind of, you know, more accepted.
And we don't want just lip service. Like we can tell when somebody just giving up lip service or not. We don't want empty promises. We don't want any of that. But Medicare for all, again, noting that most of the country is in support of it, it's not something that's like some pie in the sky idea. No, it's something that could actually get passed and that most of the people want. So it's not like out of this world for a senator to actually promote it and support it.
But you asked a good question though. Like, what would he be losing if just because he promotes it? Like, he doesn't even want to promote it.
I'm saying.
But you know, sometimes in a lot of these, I guess, agreements they make when they receive money from certain places, that is a part of it.
Yeah.
That's a condition of them getting money. They can't even like speak on behalf of certain policies. They're not just getting the money not to push it legislatively. They're getting the money so, I guess, to not speak about it too.
Yeah. All right. And this is a guy that might run for president too. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So let's switch gears to President Trump. All right. At the end of 2016, President-elect Donald Trump made a bold move and cut a deal with Carrier Corporation, And this was to keep jobs in Indiana. Carrier was threatening to offshore about 1,400 jobs, but Trump came in and saved the day, and they struck a deal, and those jobs were going to be saved, right? So everybody was, well, not everybody, but there were a lot of people, singing them praises. Hey, this is the jobs president. He's going to cut these deals. He's going to save these jobs. No more, outsourcing work, blah, blah, blah. I say that there was a lot of support, but there was also a lot of criticism too. The deal was widely panned, and it was because Carrier got $7 million in tax benefits and incentives. And that was all because Trump came in and negotiated with them and gave them a sweetheart deal. So it was widely panned because it was evidence of a company just coming in and saying, hey, we're going to threaten jobs. We're going to, hold these jobs hostage. Yeah. And, what can you do for us? And Trump showed them with that the incoming administration was going to benefit them. He was going to give them sweetheart deals, and it was going to be a win-win. No. It was going to be a win for big business. It was going to be a win for the Republicans, and
a win for the people. So you were right the first time.
No,
so I think
I misspoke. Right. I misspoke.
But you were talking about what it was supposed to be.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
You were right in saying that it was a win-win-win.
It was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But so again, those jobs were saved, right? Approximately about 1,000 jobs were saved. They kept them there in Indiana. Now, in the months to follow, there were hundreds of jobs that were lost. Now, these weren't the jobs that were saved. There were hundreds of other jobs that were lost. So when when you're, I guess, faced with that reality, and you're talking about the corporate welfare that was delivered to Carrier, it's like, okay, how good was this deal? This deal doesn't really seem like it was good at all.
Basically, your question,
except for Carrier.
What was the net gain?
Yeah.
Because
it wasn't a net gain for workers.
They promised to keep some jobs, but they actually got rid of more jobs on the back end.
Yeah,
they agreed to keep those jobs,
but these jobs were saved.
Those jobs were saved, but they didn't promise that they would not get rid of other jobs in other locations.
Exactly, and that's exactly what.
So that's what they did, and like you said, they got that parachute.
Oh yeah, that's $7 million. That corporate tax welfare.
Yeah, they got that gift parachute full of cash.
No doubt. So why do I bring this up? Okay, so President Trump has saved the day once again. That's why I bring it up. So about a year ago, Taiwanese electronics company Foxconn received a $4 billion contract to build a manufacturing plant in Wisconsin. So Foxconn would be manufacturing advanced LCD panels and hire about 14,000 workers. Now, President Trump celebrated this move, and of course he harkened back to his campaign promise of bringing back manufacturing jobs. So, President Trump again celebrated, the Republican Party celebrated. It was good times, man. It was real good times. Yeah. So about that, a year later, this month, Foxconn made a revelation, or they made an announcement that the plant that they were going to be building was not a manufacturing plant. And so they said it was, quote, reconsidering plans to make advanced LCD panels, unquote, end quote, in Wisconsin, and says, quote, it intends to hire mostly engineers and researchers rather than the manufacturing workforce the project originally promised. Now, this is where Trump enters the scene. So Trump announced on Twitter that he has spoken with the chairman and the founder of Foxconn. His name is Terry Gould. And I guess he suggested on Twitter that the plan was back into play. Like the plan was back in that the manufacturing jobs were still going to be here. So it seems as though that is true, but it's different. So the plan originally called for manufacturing these advanced large screens. And now it's going to be about manufacturing like small LCD screens. That could be, I guess, like in tablets and cars and stuff like that. So the plan is definitely different. And we don't know how much of the production is actually going to be done at this plant or at this facility in Wisconsin. So it seems like a case of bait and switch from this company Foxconn, but it's okay because, hey, they already got the $4 billion contract.
Do you think Trump actually trusted them on their word, or you think it was just him presenting this situation like he was going to usher in a whole host of jobs to this area and knew that this company wasn't going to follow through? You see what I'm saying? Was he actually trying to do the right thing? Did he actually believe what this company was going to do? That's my question.
I don't know. Coming off of what happened with Carrier and how they were like, yeah, okay, hey, yeah, you know, hey, you're going to give us some money. We'll save the jobs. But then a few months later, we're cutting more jobs. We're going to cut all these other jobs. Did he really believe that they were going to do the right thing?
See, here's the problem. I think it doesn't matter to Trump as long as he enriches, like, his friends. Because if he was really serious about bringing jobs to this area and holding that company to that, he would be just as kind of forceful. He would pump his chest out with them just as he does with people he doesn't like on Twitter. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't wag your finger at these corporations. They have to be threatened in some kind of way. I think if he was really being genuine about this deal and the jobs it will create, and this company reneged on that deal, this company went back on the deal, I would think he would be a little bit more forceful. So it just seems like all show to me, like to create this facade, to create this fantasy that Trump is doing something about the job market.
Right. It doesn't seem like, again, what was promised was about 14,000 jobs. Doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. And again, the work is different. We don't know how many manufacturing jobs they're going to be. And again, they already have the $4 billion contract, this company Foxconn, and they already bought up a lot of private land and they use eminent domain to do it.
Whoa, so basically the government gave money away and the corporation got more swagger, got more power.
Yeah. And they was like, you know what? We don't really
see,
have to do this.
I just never understood, like, why, like, this money is just forked over.
Yeah.
And they really haven't fulfilled anything yet. Like, why not, like, stipulate you can get money if you fulfill these things? Why just give them money or give them I wouldn't say it's not a blank check, but essentially it is a blank check.
Yeah.
Why do that and they don't have to, like fulfill any provisions? Like, why just who would actually feel the need or an incentive to do anything if you already have the money?
Well, because they're not actually in it for the regular worker. They're not in it for the middle class. Like, if they were, then something like that would be the case. They would say, this money, we'll definitely give it to you, but you have to benefit the community. It has to be to the benefit of the community. You have to hire this many workers. You said 14,000. That's what we want to see. But again,
14,000.
What we see is it is a blank check.
They should have to agree to, I guess, hire a certain amount of people and keep them employed for a certain amount of time.
Long. Exactly. But that's not the case. It's not.
It should be like incremental tax breaks. It shouldn't be like just one just lump sum tax break. Like you said, holding a city or a state hostage in order to just get this lump sum, this tax break immediately and not really have an incentive to follow through. Why not make the tax break incremental based on them some sort of, some sort of qualification along the way.
Right. This is the problem with this economy, this country. Tax, welfare, corporate welfare is just handed out. It's to the detriment of the community. It's to the detriment of this country. Workers are not benefited whatsoever. You heard Foxconn right there. They admitted it. They said it intends to hire mostly engineers and researchers. Those are probably not going to be middle-class jobs.
And but where are those manufacturing jobs? I wouldn't say where they're going, because this is not about jobs going somewhere, but it's about bringing jobs back. So I wonder where those jobs are staying. I wonder.
Well, it's a Taiwanese company.
They're probably in Taiwan.
Going out on a limb. Going out on a limb.
It's fragile limb, Will.
Yeah,
it's
it is,
real
man.
Fragile limb.
Take one step.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go to another scam. Okay, let's go to another scam. Let me see. Okay, yeah. All right. So middle class taxpayers are M to the AD. Very upset, very mad. So we have to go all the way back to 2017 for this. The end of 2017. What happened at the end of 2017? That would be the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the tax scam, the Republican tax scam that President Trump, championed, said this would be a middle class tax cut, right? He often said, you know what? Oh, it's not good for me. Somebody like me, rich guy like me, oh no, I'm hurting on this deal. But middle class people, oh yeah, you're going to benefit tremendously, right? Now, we knew that it wasn't actually going to benefit the middle class. And we reported about this, many times because this was something that was discussed for weeks on end at the end of 2017. And the Republican Party did eventually get it passed, and it came into legislation end of 2017.
Well, what happened directly after that bill passed? Did somebody get some money? Somebody received some money from the Koch brothers?
Was that was Paul Ryan?
That was Paul Ryan. About half mil.
Yeah. Speaker of the House at the time, Paul Ryan.
Also, didn't kind of Rubio say something about that this bill that passed like months later?
Yeah, that it probably did a little bit too much for corporations.
A little bit too much for corporations.
Yeah.
So this is coming from Republicans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is coming from Republicans, and again, we knew what it would do. And any benefit that the middle class was going to receive paled in comparison to what wealthy people and these rich corporations were going to get. These tax benefits that the middle class were going to get, they were temporary, and they would exhaust by, I think, by 2027.
It was 10 years.
Yeah, but the benefits for the richest among us, the corporations, oh no, long lasting.
It was indefinite.
Exactly.
It was indefinite, and kind of what further illustrates the consequence of this Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was at the end of 2018 report that came out. And what did that report say?
Oh, about the effects to the debt?
No, not. See, now you bringing up other stuff. You bringing something else up. But what corporations did with the money?
Oh, okay, yeah. They enriched themselves. They bought back stock.
Record number.
Record
now,
number.
do we think that's just coincidental? After the first year of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act?
No. They got this sudden windfall of money. The Republican Party, President Trump did them a solid. So what they were going to do is put more money back in their pocket.
That's more than the parachute. That's like a blimp.
Yeah.
That's a blimp full of money.
Also, the repatriation, the money coming back from these tax havens overseas. I mean, like I said, it was great for big business. It was great for the wealthy class, but for middle class, it wasn't so great. And we had suggested that the middle class and poor people, they were going to see their tax burden start to rise as early as the next year, 2019. It could be 2021. I guess that was a conservative estimate. But 2019, some people might be hurting because of this tax scam.
Now, is there a part of you that feels for these people that believe that Trump was going to help them economically, help put money in their pockets? Is a part of you that kind of feels sorry for those people?
Not really.
Dang, dog, that was kind of quick. I thought I was expecting you to kind of think about that a little longer. No. Maybe you could just think.
Because see, they invented it in their own head. You see, they invented that they were going to actually receive a benefit from this tax scam, when everything was telling them that this was going to be a good deal for the rich class, not so good for everybody else. Everything was telling them that.
Now, there is a 4-word phrase that you coined.
There's
a 4-word phrase that you coined. I think it was in 2017. Was it?
It could have been as late as 2016. Well, early as 2016.
It might have been right
after the election.
I think it was like right after the election and close to when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was about to be passed.
We were talking about it in 2017, but I think it originated in the 2016.
So whatever that was, there was a 4-word phrase that you came up with, kind of as a precursor to what you thought was going to take place as far as economically for some of the people that trusted Trump.
Right.
What was that phrase?
The pain is coming. The pain is coming. Now, again, we're here in 2019, and let's see, where are we at? This is tax season. This is tax season. People are actually filing their taxes and seeing what's going to happen, right? So really, it's not about the pain is coming anymore.
The pain is here.
The pain is
here.
here.
So I think I'm going to ask for input from the audience. I know what y'all going to say because I'm setting Will up to lose. I don't know. I'm setting him up to lose in this situation. But we should have a vote in the chat. Because he did I don't know if it was like when you were doing like a madness minute or something.
Yeah.
I think you did like a madness minute on the pain is coming. And I think that's what the video was titled.
Right.
I asked the LTMB audience, should Will do another video and called The Pain is Here? We're going to take a vote tonight.
The pain is here.
The pain is here.
But yeah, it is here. So it's interesting that it's here again. And some of the people that you're talking about that didn't know this was coming. They didn't know it was coming. They filed their taxes. Again, end of January, early February, that's when people are filing their taxes, right? And so they're getting to see what happens. So we have some tweets from people, middle-class people, that filed their taxes, did their taxes, and didn't like what they saw. So this is from one person. Said, I am a Republican voter. I just did our taxes. The GOP tax bill cost my family thousands of dollars this year on our return due to changes, thereby hitting us with the largest tax increase of our lives. We are middle-class homeowners, and you raised our taxes. Infuriating. Another one. I have to pay $2,000 more in taxes this year. What happened? I voted for you and thought you were fixing this, not making it worse. I thought I would get money back this year. Yeah. So there's another one. Wait till you file your taxes. Middle class just lost half their return. Lowest refund I have ever had, and I'm 50 years old. No wall, and now this tax reform sucks too. Starting to doubt Trump. You just starting to? I voted for him and trusted him too. So the last one we want to show, completed my taxes. I filed the same every year, claiming nothing. Getting back a fraction of 2017 return. Apparently, I misread everything. Should have been called tax refund cuts because my return sucks. Thanks.
Did he and others misread everything?
No.
Or they didn't read anything?
You didn't read a damn thing.
Those two things are not the same.
All you did was listen to Donald Trump, and you trusted him at his word in saying that it was a middle class tax break, which it was not. We talked about it. The information was all out there, and we don't want to get to we're not going to go ahead and dissect everything, but there were several deductions that middle class families used that were either cut or they were capped. So that meant that thousands of dollars are now going to be on the tax burden of these families.
Those provisions were not kept under wraps.
No. Much more was done for the wealthiest among us, not the poorest among us.
So,
not the middle class.
So at the end of 2018, we saw corporations reaping the benefits of a bill after its first year. And we also see right now in the pain is here.
The pain is here.
The pain is here.
We gotta make a new shirt.
Yeah, for real, we do have to make a new shirt with maybe some images of people being mad. But yeah, so it enriched corporations and it is affecting regular Americans negatively.
Yep. Regular people.
But basically it's the same old shit. Just it's been accelerated under Trump. It's the same old stuff. It's just that Trump is doing his most darndest job to accelerate it.
You remember President Trump was supposed to be for the little guy, for the little guy, the middle class workforce.
But see, that's the thing. There was no past there. There's no history there that would give you an indication that he would.
Exactly.
I think that's why.
That's why it's all in everybody's minds.
I think that's why you were so quick to kind of dismiss any kind of empathetic notions.
Because they dismissed all information. All they did was listen to some blowhard that was like, "Yo, I'm for you." And like you said, there was no evidence to suggest that he was actually behind these people.
There was actually evidence to the contrary.
Yes.
There was more evidence to the contrary. So there was like nothing to point to that would, I don't know, that would legitimately cause just in general, like somebody to not objectively see that this is not a guy to trust. It was pretty easy. My thing is, it's actually a little more difficult to see that in Hillary Clinton because it comes with more of a facade. It comes with more of a veneer.
Yeah.
And if people
Trump is naked.
Trump is naked. So if you can see that with Hillary Clinton, who comes with more of a respectable veneer, who can kind of point to specific things that make her look like she is championing, I guess, policies with the people.
Yeah, she's wearing a disguise.
She's wearing a disguise. But
Trump?
We can see it in her. I just don't understand how people can't see it in Trump, who does it blatantly, who's obviously not ever championed anything.
Isn't that a saying? The emperor has no clothes? Isn't that a saying?
Yeah, I mean, again, if typically when we talk about politicians being corrupt and catering to the wealthy, we kind of point to them, I guess, surrounding themselves with that class of people. Trump has always surrounded himself with that class of people, his entire life.
To act like he wasn't, that's why I get frustrated when people still say that Trump ran a populist campaign. He wasn't a populist. He billed himself as one, and the media
kept using that phrase.
They kept using it.
All willy-nilly.
Exactly. Like he was actually for everybody else, like the lowest among us. He was never running that campaign. He just talked like he was. He used very simple speech. His "Make America Great Again" is very simple. But he was always for people that was just like him. Dave Chappelle, in one of his performances, said he knows he's not for you. He's for people like me. Like, you don't understand that yet. And he was saying that he felt bad for them because they didn't understand it. But everything was out there to tell you this. That's why I don't feel any empathy. Like, you're in a bad situation. And I remember seeing when he was actually promoting this tax scam. And he was doing these rallies to promote it. Getting people all riled up and like, yeah, middle class. You weren't looking at anything. All you were doing was listening to this guy that has never been for you.
You know, it just seems as if, like, a lot of people who support Trump are not particularly worried about the specifics of whatever he's pushing. They're just seeing Trump as some sort of, I don't know, like a symbol of victory for themselves. Like, we got into it with one of our friends that we knew from high school about the wall. And we basically explained the premise behind the wall being, I guess, based on, false information. And so we pointed that out. And his response was, he doesn't care. He literally doesn't care. It didn't matter to him. He wants the wall. He wants the wall because Trump is pushing it. That's the only reason why he wants it. So it would be a Trump victory for him, regardless of the merits or not. So I think you have to look at it that way for almost everything Trump pushes. If Trump passes it and it gets through, it's a victory for Trump. So therefore, it's a victory for us. It's just that simple, regardless of the merits. So I just don't see that being kind of a part of the discussion in regard to just the wall. It's going to be a part of the discussion in regard to everything Trump pushes.
The problem with that, though, is that it's easy to say, hey, the wall is a victory for Trump, so it's a victory for us because we supported Trump. It's easy to do that because direct negative outcomes to us individuals.
It's going to take some more time to
it's going to take a lot of time for you to feel that.
But they're not thinking like that, though.
But a Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that raises your tax burden the next year?
Remember, like I said,
that's going to be hard, man.
If it's not about the merits, all that doesn't matter. They're not looking that far ahead. Because, again, if it's not about
it matters right now. Oh, it matters now.
Oh, I know it matters. I'm just saying, their mindset, the merits of it don't matter. It's just that Trump passes something, Trump gets something done. That's all that matters. It's a victory for him. It's a victory for us. So it justifies us regardless of how it affects us. And there's going to be probably a large part of his base that even when they're affected negatively, they are going to go through some cognitive dissonance.
Oh, yeah.
and tried to like recreate some other reality to why they're suffering. It's not going to be about Trump. I guarantee you, they're not going to point the finger at Trump.
There will be some of those, but as we see, there's going to be a lot of people that I think that are in his base that I know, one, can't afford thousands of dollars more that they have to pay out, or that they aren't going to get back, that they are accustomed to getting back.
They make plans based on the money that they're going to get back, or they think they're going to get back.
So that reality, man, that's going to be like a punch in the face, and it is going to leave some people to kind of reflect on their decision-making process in 2016 and going forward to 2020.
But then again, this is classic Trump, though. This is classic Trump. And if you look at like how he's always dealt with things business-wise, this is how he always like deals with his affairs. He scams people, and then he has to go through litigation later. That's like with the Trump University thing.
Right.
He sells this thing, and people think they're going to get something out of it. Turns out it was all fraudulent. They end up suing, and he has to pay. So that's how he's always dealt with these things. You know, same thing with the Trump Foundation.
Yeah.
Same thing with that, or same thing with the casino he ran, or some of the projects he endorsed. You know, and so I don't know, man. This is classic Trump, man.
The pain is here. The pain is here. All right, so last thing we want to talk about, of course, tonight is the State of the Union address, and Donald Trump is expected to make that address. It's around 9 o'clock, and I'm sure he will go for about an hour, hour and a half, something like that, and I'm sure it will be filled with much misinformation. You know, I'm sure it will be horrible. I'm sure it will be.
Every news outlet is going to be, right on after that.
Yeah.
Prime time.
That's correct.
Kind of either fact checking or critiquing everything he said.
Right. Now, the response to President Trump's address is going to be given by Stacey Abrams. She was the Democratic candidate for governor in the state of Georgia, but she lost that race to Brian Kemp, under certain circumstances, which many people would describe as a corrupt process. And I think aptly describing it as that. But anyway, she's going to be doing the Democratic response. Now, there's been some ridiculous controversy about Senator Bernie Sanders recently. Now, Senator Bernie Sanders has done a response to the State of the Union 2 years. He started 2 years ago, and he announced that he's going to be doing the same thing this year, making 3 years straight. Now, Senator Bernie Sanders, he always does it on his social media platform. He talks to his supporters. This is not done during Trump's address. This is not done during the Democratic response. This is done afterwards.
After. So whatever a Democrat is poised to have the main stage, or is employed to have the main stage after the State of the Union.
Yes.
There's other responses too, but that usually happens after the main one.
It usually happens after. Again, we're just talking about Bernie Sanders, but usually there are other people that give a response.
Right.
But again, this is about Bernie Sanders. It seems as though there are many people that are frustrated and annoyed by the fact that Bernie Sanders is going to be given
any
a response
at all.
Yes.
Period.
And it seems to be for a particular reason. So let's go to Twitter to highlight that reason. Zerlina Maxwell, she is a political analyst. She has made multiple appearances on cable news networks. She was also the director of progressive media for the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign. So that's something to keep in mind. But anyway, on Twitter, she says, it would be dope if Bernie was like, I don't need to do a State of the Union response because a capable black woman has got that covered. But he couldn't and didn't, and black women will see that, and we won't forget it. Hashtag taking note.
Taking note of what? What is she actually taking note of? And what is she actually pointing to that black women and black people should not forget? She's going to hold a grudge against Bernie Sanders and employ black women and black people in general to hold a grudge against Bernie Sanders because he's doing what he always has done, or doing what he has done the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So he's giving a response to the State of Union address, which is fairly normal.
Yeah.
A response, even though he is not employed to be the main voice.
Yeah.
So he's doing something that's quite normal, right?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether he's included or not, even if we take Bernie Sanders out of the picture, it is typical to have multiple responses in addition to the main response, regardless of what party is delivering the State of the Union. If it was a Democrat, you'd have a main Republican.
Yeah.
Who was chosen to give the main response, and you have other Republicans who issued their own responses too after the main response. In this case, it's a Republican president, and just like other Republican State of the Unions, when the president was not Trump, there was a Democrat on the main stage issuing their response on behalf of the Democratic Party, and then there were other Democrats that would have, I guess, their say or present their response after that main person. This is quite normal. But why is it not normal in this case? Why is it presented as something that's not normal in this case, Will?
Well, the thing that's different is that there's a black woman doing the response, Stacey Abrams. And again, I have to restate that Bernie Sanders, one, is not given the address during Trump's speech. He's not given the speech. He's not given his response during Stacey Abrams' speech. He actually said on Twitter that Stacey Abrams was a fantastic choice, and he is excited to hear what she has to say, but that he is going to be doing his response like he has done the past 2 years.
Wait.
Last year.
And it's not televised, right?
It's not televised. Okay. It's on social media. It's not on the cable news networks. It's not going to be nationally televised or anything like that. Last year, the Democratic response was given by Representative Joe Kennedy III. Mm-hmm. I don't remember hearing any kind of furor, any kind of criticism, any anger. I don't remember hearing anything about Bernie Sanders doing what he had did the previous year, which was 2016. Oh, no, 2017. 2017. I don't remember hearing anything negative about him doing in 2017, 2018, but 2019, I hear it. And it seems to be as though it's because it's a black woman doing it. Hey, she's got this. You know, black women are going to remember this. You wouldn't just let a black woman speak. Why would it have to be dumbed down to race?
No, not just that. It's like there's this suggestion that his is competing with hers, and it's not.
It's not. It's not at all.
It's not competing.
It's not at the same time. It's not on network television.
So basically, what she is saying with some of these people on Twitter, a lot of people on Twitter are kind of co-signing, is that let her speak equates to no one else can talk.
No one else can talk.
So that's what it means.
Right.
Let her speak, or let who speak, or let whoever speak equals nobody else should speak at all. Which seems like that just seems like an extravagant expectation. It's unreasonable expectation.
Right.
A trivial expectation.
So there was a lot of support for that type of criticism, but there was also, backlash as well. So the next day, today on Tuesday, she put another post out there in which she stated, "I seem to have pissed off men of all political stripes today, and I can't tell the difference between the Bernie supporters and the right-wingers." So now everybody that had something critical to say about your ridiculous, I guess, criticism of Bernie Sanders, now it doesn't matter where the criticism is coming from or what the criticism is. If it is criticism of your point, your flawed point, then it could be a right-winger, it could be a Bernie supporter, it could be anybody. All these are alike.
All are alike, which is like I would say it's almost like a dog whistle in a sense.
It is.
It's a dog whistle because it's designed to cast anybody who disagrees with her, specifically Bernie supporters, as misogynist and sexist. That's what that was designed to do.
And anti-black.
Anti-black. It wasn't so the use of the word Trump is very key here, and what that word represents. That's why she used that word, and that's why I called it dog whistle, because she was being very passive aggressive. Mm-hmm. That's why she used Trump and Trump supporters. Right wing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right
Yeah,
wingers.
right wing. So that's why she said right wing, is because she was kind of using that as a symbol for all those negative things.
So it didn't stop with her, though. Again, this has been something that there have been many people talking about it. Another one is Amy Siskind. And she said on Twitter, "Why is he talking over the black woman our party chose to speak for us?" And she she said again on Twitter, "This is disrespecting black women, the most important and reliable part of our base. He can speak another night. This is Stacey Abrams' night. She was the one the party chose. Nope, this is not his night." I don't understand. Like,
No.
you're gonna have political figures far and wide after President Trump's speech. They're gonna be talking after Stacey Abrams' speech. They're gonna be talking on cable news all night long. They're gonna be talking. You know what happens before Stacey Abrams? But I believe before Stacey Abrams and President Trump, Kamala Harris is going to make an address.
You know what? I asked you that yesterday. Like I said, what about Kamala Harris and Cory Booker? What about them?
But see, I believe somebody brought up Kamala Harris and was like, "Well, what about her? I guess you're gonna have criticism of her too." And it was Zerlina Maxwell that said, "Well, hers is before. Nice try."
That's actually worse. That's actually worse.
The whole point is you taking any focus off of Stacey Abrams, right? And especially if you're from the Democratic Party, you're taking attention away from Stacey Abrams. You're kind of, I guess, downplaying her effect or diminishing her effect. So it wouldn't be any different if it's done before or after. This makes no sense. Mark Lamont Hill, who used to be a contributor on CNN, he said, "On a historic night for Stacey Abrams and the party, as we enter election season, he could make a different choice. This isn't about his intentions. It's about how his choice is going to be read by the people he needs to secure the nomination." Now that's not as bad as the other criticisms, but it's stupid.
It's stupid. It's a very intellectualized kind of knee-jerk emotional response in support of this nonsense. Like, number one,
you got to appeal to stupid people.
You got to appeal to. That's basically what he's saying. Like, it doesn't matter like the merits of people's outrage. You just have to appeal to it because they're outraged.
Yep. Doesn't matter why they're outraged.
Doesn't matter why.
If it's legitimate or not.
Now, does Bernie Sanders have a job that he? No, I'm saying, does Bernie Sanders have a job right now?
Currently,
what is his job?
He's a United States Senator from Vermont.
Okay, all right, he's a United States Senator from Vermont. So, like, he has a job to talk and engage with people, especially after, like, a State of the Union address, to clarify or clear up some things.
Yeah,
that's
to point out errors in what Trump had to say.
That's his job. His job doesn't magically go away, or his job doesn't cease to exist because there's a black woman delivering the State of the Union address response.
Yeah. If it was offensive, I mean, if this is offensive right now, in that Stacey Abrams is doing it, it would have been offensive that the white guy, Joe Kennedy III, did it
young guy.
in 2018.
Nobody said move over for the young faces. Nobody said that.
Nobody was offended.
Nobody said like give him his space, give him his time. You're taking away from him.
Nobody
and the thing about Stacey Abrams kind of being anointed to do this, I'm cool with it because it actually points to her kind of being a capable mind. It points to her kind of being very influential and like running a great campaign in the face of obstacles, in the face of voter suppression. I just don't think a lot of other candidates would have been as successful in that Georgia race as she was. So, like, the fact that she didn't even get the job, she didn't get that job.
No.
The fact that she, I don't even want to call it. I don't like to call it a failure. I don't like to call it that. But she didn't win. She didn't win her race. But the Democrats still felt that it was necessary to kind of put her on that pedestal to illustrate like how much value she does have.
Yeah.
I think that's enough right there. Like, her value is being regarded and respected to the point where they are allowing her to be on the main stage, giving the official response.
And she's getting tremendous support, including by somebody like Bernie Sanders. That doesn't mean that Bernie Sanders will zip his lip and not say anything afterwards about what President Trump had to say. He's a current United States senator. So what would it matter if he does it tonight, tomorrow, the night before? I mean,
exactly. Is there like a timetable?
Yeah.
Does he have to wait 24 hours, 48 hours? What are the rules here? That's another part of the problem.
How does it step on Stacey Abrams if he's not challenging Stacey Abrams? She has her limelight. She's going to be on every single major network. She's going to be on every single one of them. He's not. He's going to be on social media afterwards. Streaming. Like, if you have a problem with it, if you don't want to hear him, if all you want to hear is Trump's, State of the Union address, and then you want to hear the Democratic response, the official response,
then don't watch.
Then don't watch Bernie Sanders whatsoever. How could you be offended that Bernie Sanders is going to continue what he's been doing for the past 2 years?
And also, one thing that is not being mentioned enough is the particular person who started this mess, her past. Like her past and who she did support.
Right.
I don't see how people don't see that coming into play here with this kind of ridiculous analysis and this like trivial problem she has with Bernie Sanders. This seems very targeted. It seems like very strategic and targeted. She's like starting some like outrage over something that is very trivial in my mind. And I do think that if people are not going to link that to her support of Hillary Clinton, then people are just being delusional.
Exactly. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see. And if it really was offensive, it wouldn't be hard to see. You wouldn't have people having to squint their eyes and be like, well, hold on, hold on. So hold on. Explain that back to me.
You meant that meme with the woman going like this?
Yeah.
So
you tell me because there's a black woman doing it, Bernie Sanders should step down. He shouldn't say anything that night. Okay. But the white guy did it last year and he didn't have to step down. Oh, okay. But because it's the black woman, he can't speak. Oh, okay.
Or it's not that just he can't speak. They're like they're attaching certain parameters around her response that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? They're really not well defined. Like you said, does he have to wait a certain amount of time? Would a response a day later be worse or better? Would a response 2 days later? It would be the same. Also, again, even if it's not Bernie or anybody else streaming from their living room or their office or the bathroom, wherever they're streaming from, does that matter? Does that even matter? Because like you said, there are going to be people on news networks talking about this right after. So they just have a problem with official responses. They don't have a problem with all responses. That's what makes it trivial. Because there's really no set parameters.
But to even say official, there's only one official response.
When I say official response, I'm just talking about something a little more formal. And it's just them.
Yeah.
Just them in front of a camera.
Instead of being interviewed on a panel or something.
That's what I mean by official. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like the parameters are very loose here. There's not a set parameter. So if you're gonna be outraged about something, at least set some specific parameters.
So what they should do, actually, so what should happen here, if it is actually offensive to follow up Stacey Abrams' words, what they should do is when she's done, you should cut to some other type of programming on like CNN or MSNBC or something like that. Do some type of, I don't know, some travel programming or something like that. Cooking. They do have some series that are on CNN, I know, that don't really have to do with politics. They have to do with other things. So maybe they should do that, because if anybody actually speaks their mind about what was said that night, that might be offensive. Again,
what are the parameters?
Yeah.
It would have to be anybody that speaks about it after her response should be shunned and ridiculed. Anybody, not just Bernie Sanders.
Of every response that I saw, though, I actually am probably the most disappointed in Mark Lamont Hills, though. because it was, again, on the surface, it wasn't like, yeah, this is like really offensive and he should know better. His comments were like, you're trying to get support from particular people, you should know better. That's pretty much what he was saying. But like, the people that are offended, the people that are actually criticizing Bernie Sanders over this are stupid. They're using an illegitimate talking point to actually hit him with. It's completely phony. It's made out of thin air. If it wasn't an issue in 2018 or 2017, it's damn sure not an issue now. So all you're saying is that, hey man, you really do need to kind of appeal to stupid people with stupid arguments.
You got to appeal to stupid people because we really don't have a significant argument against you or to oppose you. So we have to invent something. That's why. It's like there's legitimate criticism.
You gotta dance.
There's legitimate criticism to have against Bernie, but I don't even think they care about those issues enough to kind of actually put it out there. So now we have to get people's reaction to something that's very trivial. We have to kind of garner this outrage for this issue. That's really a non-issue.
It's a complete non-issue, man. It's like when we're sitting here reading these comments last night, and I responded to a few of them. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing anybody could be offended by. This is complete nonsense. And people are actually like, yeah, say it again, sister. Yeah. We got a whole bunch of, I hate to say it, man. We got a whole bunch of.
Oh, I know.
Silks.
I know.
We got a whole bunch of silks.
I knew you were going to go there.
We got a whole bunch of silks. We got a whole bunch responding. Tell them. Really? You can say the most foolish thing in the world.
It's just it's just not the coon version of. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
it's the woke version of.
This is dumb, man.
It's like unconditional. Unconditional, man.
And again, like you said, like, you can't forget the background of Zerlina Maxwell. She worked on the Hillary Clinton campaign.
That's not suspicious at all.
She still got that boo-boo. She got a boo-boo too, because she thinks that Bernie Sanders significantly hurt Hillary Clinton's candidacy. And by the time it came to election season, the general election, she wasn't electable anymore, even though she got most of the votes, even though she won the popular vote. All right. We got about 5 to 10 minutes, okay, that we'll take calls. Because again, it's approaching 9 o'clock.
And we want to get in on that State of the Union address. Yeah. We got to watch that because we're going to be doing commentary.
Right. I know, maybe not everybody wants to see what President Trump has to say tonight, but this is what we do, so we definitely have to watch it, and I am interested. I am interested in what he has to say. So to call in, the number is 669-900-6833. I saw it before I said it.
See, you didn't even sound confident. 6833.
I saw it before, man.
You didn't even sound confident, man.
All right, so like I said, we only got a few minutes. So if you do have, a quick comment or a question to ask, you can definitely call in. We'll definitely get you on for a few minutes.
Yeah, we're going to have to do them quick if we end up getting multiples, since we do have limited time. It's funny. That's an interesting comment from Trudy. It says Hillary hurt Bernie's candidacy. And I'm like, damn, it's interesting how nobody sees it like that, Trudy.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's true. That's a true comment, man. That's true.
Just short and sweet, man.
Like, there's always some dumb stuff that happens, man. But, like, dumb stuff like the CIA Democrats stuff, like, some stuff, like, just
basically
boggles my mind, man.
You hurt any movement that's designed to move the corporate centrist Democrats out of the way by when you report false stuff or you create silly outrage about them.
All right, so let's get 443 on the line. You're on the air with LTMB.
Sorry, silly outrage.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
What's going on tonight? What's going on, Cory? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm doing good. Just cooking some dinner.
What you cooking, man? What you got?
You cooking a State of the Union?
No, State of the Union meal.
I got baked chicken with a mirepoix of onions, celery, carrots, sweet potato, white wine, and some chicken stock. I'm gonna make some quinoa, and I'm gonna put that on a plate with the sweet potatoes that I got cooking in my mirepoix.
Oh, he getting to work.
It'll be pretty good.
Man. You getting to work, man.
Yeah, I like cooking some good shit.
All right, man.
Got Chef Court.
So I was listening to y'all talk about the tax returns, people getting light tax returns.
Hell yeah.
And I feel like Will. I don't give a fuck. You know, I really don't care.
Nah.
I really don't care. If that's all that happens to these fucking people, well, fuck them. You know what I mean? Like that's really as far as I can. The only reason why they went with this motherfucker is because he was a racist son of a bitch, and a lot of them will still stick with this motherfucker even if he just screwed them over on their fucking taxes.
Yep.
A lot of them will still stick with this motherfucker because it has nothing to do with the policy. They like Trump because Trump talk like they do when nobody's listening, and that's what the fuck that shit's about, and that's why they're all, oh my god, my taxes, they fucking suck, build the wall, because they're too far gone, man. They're too far gone.
I agree, man. But yeah,
so
like you, man, I don't care.
I'm gonna call something. I'm thinking they're gonna try to push Kamala. That's what I think the DNC is going to. I've been thinking about this. Elizabeth Warren is like, she's done. She was done really with the whole Native American thing. She was done. She's too they did her like they did Clinton, right? They'll just wipe the floor with her. Bernie Sanders, they are never going to let him run. They are not going to let that dude run because they do not want his policies enacted. Marianne Williamson, I don't even hear people like Sam Cedar, or I did see Tom, I can't remember his last name. He used to be on RT, but he moved. Tom Hartman. I did see some stuff on the Tom Hartman show, saw a little blip, you know what I mean? But I don't hear any real progressives talking about it. And that's discouraging.
It is.
That makes me think that some of the more progressive show hosts out there either haven't picked her up yet or they're trying to slow roll her. Like maybe they don't want to put another progressive, maybe they don't want to put that kind of dynamic in the party. And I think the party is going to actually try and push Kamala. And does Stacey Abrams have an issue with Bernie Sanders speaking at all, or was that just everybody else?
She hasn't
said so. That's another issue that we didn't even bring up. Like, has Stacey even hinted that she is a bit off put, or put off by Bernie Sanders doing a response after her? So.
No, I mean if she doesn't say anything, I can't see where anybody should have a problem.
Yeah, it's not a problem, man. It's invented, and it's only meant to tarnish Bernie Sanders, man. It's only meant to criticize him.
It is, and that's fucked up, man. Like, you guys are right when you talk about the establishment. It's true. Those motherfuckers really are just, they're corporate suits. Like, it's like they'll do all of the hemming, like Cory Booker in that damn I'm going to run for president commercial. It was bullshit. It's the same fluff. It's glittering generalities. You guys remember high school civics class? You remember glittering generalities? Positive words you can say. I mean, absolutely shit. Don't have to back up at all. It's like that's what these motherfuckers do. And I want to see more people like Marianne Williamson.
Yeah, man. We too. But, it's going to be hard for her to get, some kind of movement, some support. It's going to be hard. It can be done. It can be done. It's not like she's coming from nowhere where she's not known. It can be done. It's just... will it be done? I don't know, man.
But they effectively killed it, though. All right, yeah, I see y'all got another call.
Yeah, we got to get one more call. But like I said, I agree with you. We're going to be talking about her. It's just it's already in for her. You know they don't want her to go anywhere in her candidacy. But the good thing is that this is very early on, so at least it's possible, that she could gain some type of movement or something like that. I don't know.
Still got a long time.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed, man. Keep your fingers crossed. All right, fellas, I get off here.
All right, thanks for calling in, man.
Peace out.
All right, so let's get to 770. You're on the air live with LTMB.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on that Bernie story. This is Tony.
What's up, Tony?
What's up, man?
That it's starting already.
Yeah, early.
Not only Yeah, real early. And also you had that one. And he had another story about the blacks for Schultz. Have you seen that yet?
I haven't seen that.
Schultz, like the
Starbucks?
Yeah.
Oh hell, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, there's like a false thing on Twitter, blacks for Schultz, and it has they have these stock photo images of of various black people like cheering, like they're cheering for Schultz.
No.
Yo, man. I don't even know if I want to like venture into that. Oh man, I don't think I have enough like strength to deal with all the face palms I would be giving myself.
That might be too much.
That might be too much. I might have a big dent in my head afterwards.
Blacks for sure.
Blacks for sure. That don't even sound right.
But it's like it's the same. It's the same thing that happened like in 2016, and then it's like everything was like all stuff like this was like, oh, obviously it was Russia. And it's like, no, it wasn't. Russia did some very specific things, and most of it happened after the election. But there's no point in talking to people who already have it. They already have their minds made up about it. So,
man, like I said, man, you're the one that told me about this whole Bernie thing last night. When I saw it, I'm like,
I don't even know how I sent it. I know I sent it with some like very vitriolic kind of, you know what I'm saying, like text. It was like, man, this is dumb as shit.
I mean,
some
like at least let it be about something. Like you can't like maybe if this was the first time he had ever done it, I still would be like, I don't give a damn because he's a damn U.S. Senator. If he wants to talk about whatever he wants to talk about on social media, that's his prerogative. If you don't want to hear it, then you don't have to listen. But being that he had done it 2 years previously and he's just going to continue that tradition, like, really? You outraged just because there's a black woman that's given the official Democratic... Man, oh my gosh, man. The stupidity is like epic proportions, man.
Also pay attention to who is outraged. It's the same people who were outraged in 2016.
That's
over
true.
Nothing.
That's true.
Or they're outraged by the wrong thing.
That's
true.
Outraged by the wrong people.
And I see a lot of white people that are outraged, and that we featured one of those in the comments talking about that's disrespectful to black women and like, no, it's not. What the hell are you talking about?
Dog, Nina Turner shut that junk. Well, she tried to.
Yeah, there was another person.
Nina Turner, she got she definitely responded to that. That the original poster.
Actually, we had that. It was another one, and I don't know how to pronounce her name, but Bernie Sanders. He made a post about Rosa Parks today on Rosa Parks' 106th birthday, blah, 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 blah. And then, you see that at the end, you can also remember her by letting a black woman speak tomorrow and standing down. And that's when Nina Turner got into
Nina Turner got in that ass.
Yeah.
Basically said, sit your ass down.
Hell yeah.
So I was like, wait a second. Isn't Nina Turner black?
She is.
So where do people go here? We're supposed to respect black women's voices in their perspective, or are they going to do that with Nina Turner because she's saying something contrary to what they're outraged about? You know what I'm saying?
It's stupid, man. There's no way the other way to put it.
I just don't understand like the logic either, the connection. Oh, you can respect Rosa Parks. You know how you can do that? Don't give a State of the Union. I'm like, I'm trying to figure out how. Don't give a State of the Union response because a black woman is giving the main response. That's how you can respect Rosa Parks. I'm like,
what does that have to do with Rosa Parks?
I'm saying, how do you connect the two?
You just wanted to say some shit. You just wanted to say some shit.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to comment on.
If the response would have been on anything, they would have had the same.
Hell yeah.
If Bernie Sanders if he would have tweeted about, I don't know, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. He said, if you really like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you would let Stacey Abrams do the response by herself and not give one yourself. It doesn't matter what like the tweet was about. They were going to find a tweet.
We need health care for all in this country. We need Medicare for all because people are dying, can't afford their prescription drugs. You know what you can do?
If you really want Medicare for all, you would stand down.
Step aside,
Step
Bernie
aside
Sanders.
and let Abrams do it. Like like I said, it doesn't even matter. I think no matter what the tweet was, they would have found any tweet.
It's dumb, man.
But yeah, that's all I wanted to mention.
All right, Tony, we appreciate you calling in, man.
All right, you have a good night.
All right, you too, man. All right, so that's the last call we're gonna take. Nobody else is on the line anyway, and like I said, we, there's only a few minutes left until that State of the Union address. So, we're gonna hop off and we're gonna see what President Trump has to say. I remember the last one, 2018. Wrote a lot of stuff down and didn't mean anything. Remember the one thing that I circled? The one thing I circled was that he said he made a promise that he was going to do something about prescription drug costs, and I don't believe he did anything. It's been a year. Yeah. So let's see if something actually pops off.
Don't want to go without mentioning a Super Chat contributor, John Hill. Appreciate that. And he asked us a question. And he says, what do y'all think of the ADOS movement? I think that's the African descendants of slaves movement. Pretty sure he's asking that question based on the accusation from some, I guess, members of the corporate media, like Joanne Reed, saying that those are Russian bots. Mm-hmm. I listened to the creator of it. I listened to the creator of that movement, so I know it's a legitimate movement. That's just, black gatekeepers just trying to suppress actual voices that are trying to tackle this capitalistic system at its core. That's all that is. Just black gatekeepers trying to illegitimize black voices or black voices that are preaching liberation.
All right, so look, we're going to get out of here. And we're going to be back in a couple of days. It's going to be Thursday, February 7th, same time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We hope that you enjoyed the show tonight, and we appreciate our callers tonight, Tony and Court, for calling in, and giving us your voice. So we appreciate that immensely. We appreciate everybody that joined us, everybody that chatted along the way, everybody on not Facebook. Why I say Facebook?
Just stuck in the memory.
That's just stuck in there. Everybody on YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope Live that watched us, thank you very much. All of our patrons on patreon.com, thank you very much for supporting us each and every month. With that, like I said, we'll see you in a couple days. Have much to discuss about the State of the Union address. So we look forward to it, all right? Everybody take care. Peace out, all right?